What's up guys, I'm Justin from CBI and Prinsu. Today we're working on a 2nd gen Tacoma Access Cab, but install will be the same on the 3rd gen Access Cab also. So we're going to be putting the roof rack on. Stay tuned, I'll show you how to do it. Alright, so the first step is we've unboxed everything and we just laid it all out how it's going to install. So make sure you got all your wind deflector, noise reducing trim, silver crossbar, the rest of your crossbars, 2 side rails, and our box of hardware. So we're gonna open this up and get all of this prepped. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so inside of the hardware box, we have 2 bags. The smaller bag, this is gonna be the bolt and the hardware that we're gonna use to compress our plus nuts. And this big bag has everything else, all of our mounting hardware, or spacers, or plus nuts, all that stuff. I'm gonna open this up and we're gonna prep all the T30 Torx bolts with a washer and a little bit of provided Loctite. All right, so we got some hardware prep. Next step is we're gonna install a couple of the crossbars that are in the center, and they install in these smaller slots. We're gonna use our T30 bolts that we just prepped to do so. Make sure not to over tighten those, just get them snugged up for right now. And we don't wanna install a crossbar over a mounting foot. We're gonna need full access to the mounting foot when the rack is on the vehicle. So we'll get these crossbars installed and then we'll go to the vehicle. All right, now at the vehicle, we're gonna remove this weather stripping. It just pops right out. And then we're gonna measure from the windshield back 7 inches and 3/8. And we're gonna make a mark in the rain gutter on each side. And that mark is gonna be the first hole that we drill. We'll go ahead and get this marked out and then we'll start drilling. All right, so we got our marks made. We're gonna start drilling now. I'm starting with an 1/8 inch drill bit, and we're gonna work our way all the way up to 3/8 is our final size that we need. Just make sure you're drilling slow and you don't push too deep into the vehicle. We just need to go just past this first layer here of steel. And I'm using a little bit of oil also on the bits just to keep everything cool. But make sure you're in the center width-wise of the rain gutter when you drill also. All right, so we have both those holes drilled to 3/8 of an inch. Now we're gonna open up our plus nut install kit. So I'll lay this out and show you how we're gonna do this. So we take the bolt included, slide a washer over it, then we slide the hex coupler on, the last washer, and then we thread the plus nut on. We just need to make sure that the plus nut is snug up against that washer, and then we're gonna take some of our black RTV silicone and just put a little bit of silicone on this inside lip. We'll jam that in, and then we're gonna hold the hex coupler with a 1/2 inch wrench, and we're gonna turn the bolt with a 7/16 wrench, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna pull this lower area up and just mushroom this section out on the inside of the roof, giving you a good sturdy mounting point for the Prinsu rack. So definitely don't over tighten. Torque to these is 26 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, but inch-pounds. We'll go ahead and get this installed. So we have the rack sitting on the vehicle, and what I did is I went ahead and installed a bolt loosely in the front mounting foot into the plus nut that we just installed on each side, just to hold the rack in place. I made sure everything's nice and square with the rack sitting on the vehicle. Now we're just gonna take a Sharpie and mark the rest of the mounting holes, and then we'll take the rack off, and then we'll get to drilling and do the same drilling and plus nut install process that we did on the front 2 holes. All right, so we got all of our plus nuts installed. The next step is we're gonna mark our weather stripping and cut it. So there's 2 ways to do this. Both ways work just fine. The way I'm gonna do looks a little bit cleaner, but realistically you won't be able to see it once the rack's on the vehicle. But the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna mark where each hole is on the weather stripping. I'm gonna cut out the back of this where there's a metal spine, and then we'll drill out the front with a 7/8 hole saw. That fits the diameter of that spacer perfect. So that's the way I'm gonna do it. You can also basically just mark on either side where the plus nuts are gonna be and just cut that block out everywhere there's a mounting foot. So I'll show you the way I'm gonna go, but if you go the other way, it works just fine. Just cut out where the mounting feet's gonna go. All right, so you can see these marks. Those are where the plus nuts are on the vehicle. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this a little ways out, about a 1/2 inch extra on each side. We're gonna cut 2 marks on each side, and where this line is, that's where that metal spine is. We're gonna have to cut that out. So put your pliers in and cut that, and then we're gonna do the same on this side of the holes. Get to that metal piece. Now, go over, you can see the metal piece here, and we're just gonna kind of separate this piece from the main weather stripping. It's a little bit difficult, you might have to start it this way, and then it'll tear. All right, so we got our weather stripping cut and in place. Now we're gonna take our black RTV silicone, basically fill up the inside of where we cut, and then we'll get all of our spacers kind of smushed down in place. Once we get that done on both sides, we'll get the roof rack, get it in place, and start all the mounting bolts. All right, so now we're gonna build our wind deflector, and you're gonna need your gray crossbar and the wind deflector, noise reducing trim, and the wind deflector hardware. So we're gonna kind of line this up flush with the wind deflector and the gray crossbar. We're gonna slide in our T-nuts and align them with these holes here. Just make sure that the threaded side that's sticking up is facing down. So we'll slide those in, we'll get a washer on the bolt and put some of the Loctite on the bolts. So now we're gonna get the wind deflector bolted up, and we just wanna make sure that we're making contact with the roof with this noise reducing trim just to keep everything nice and quiet. Gonna use the same T30 Torx bolts we used on our crossbars. Get it bolted up. All right, we got it all finished up. That sums up the 2nd and 3rd gen Access Cab Prinsu roof rack. If you like this video, please drop us a like, comment, and always subscribe. Thanks for watching.